felt like I got sucker punched in the kidney.
Oh, what if the most pivotal moments in history left more than just records behind? They left spirits. Welcome back to The Common Historian, where history meets the supernatural. I'm Jeremy, and tonight I'm joined by Nick Carboni, author of The Paranormal Legacy and the Ugly Truth, and owner of the State House in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So grab your favorite beverage, dim the lights, and prepare to journey into the world where history refuses to stay buried. Welcome, Nick.
Hey, thanks for
So
having me.
you just, oh, no problem. So just kind of diving right in, let's start with your book, Paranormal Legacy and the Ugly Truth. What made you decide it was time to put your story down in writing?
It's one of those weird things where one of my thing, I've traveled around the country, hundreds and hundreds of conventions, and I know a lot of people from the celebrities to people their first day. And one of the things I enjoyed at the conventions was looking at people's books that they wrote. And I would often purchase somebody's book versus anything else. Then it got me thinking, and my time when I co-opened the Bell Mansion in Fort Wayne, and I was there for 2 years of it open, and a year before that, I was in the process of actually writing a book on the Bell family and the history there. And then, things happen, and then I end up leaving, and, you know, this stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking at the time, my team was like, "You should still write a book." And I'm like, "I'm not that person. I don't consider myself smart. I've been in the flooring business for almost 30 years. I've been in construction. I just don't generally think myself as a smart person." Now, when it comes to the paranormal, I'm a very deep thinker, and I think a little differently than most people. But I guess the premise behind the book wasn't to toot my own horn and tell my story. It was more of, hey, look, if you're getting into the paranormal or you're stuck in the drama shit or everything else, I get it. I've been there. I've done that. And hundreds of other people have done it, and thousands of other teams. I mean, people have gone through it. Like, this was kind of tell you that, an average everyday person that's always loved the paranormal was never really in thought process was, I'm going to be a paranormal investigator. No, not really. I mean, the spirits kind of eventually decided that for me, but this is just a journey. Like, you can, how do I say it? You can understand it. You read it and you're like, dang, this dude gets me. He understands it. I show you all the good times. I show you all the magnificent once in a lifetime opportunities, but I also show you the other side of it. Dealing with people is it's nerve-wracking, it's stressful. I mean, it doesn't have to be the paranormal, it could be a bowling league, it could be a golf league, a knitting club. When you start to interact with other people and different personalities and backgrounds, things tend to rear their ugly head, and how do you deal with it? And that was really the premise behind my book, and that was the easiest way for me to write it, was just to tell my story, like, first half of my story. People have enjoyed it. It's no New York Times bestseller. I've sold a few hundred copies, that's about it.
Yeah. So, you know, the title mentions the ugly truth of the paranormal field. For people who haven't read your book yet, what's one example of the ugly truth that surprised you?
Wow, that's a good question. I've not been asked that. That's a good question. I appreciate that. I think coming to the last chapter of the book, when I talk about my time at the Bell Mansion, a lot of people knew me from just that, but I had a whole background before that. And the ugly truth is you become vulnerable. And if you take what somebody says and not protect yourself, they're going to railroad you. And that's the ugly truth. And, the ugly truth in the paranormal is you're going to meet a lot of wonderful people and you're going to become close friends with, but just as equal as you're going to run into a lot of people that are snakes and they don't care about you. and all they want to do is use you. And once they're done, they move on. That's the ugly truth. Now, that's the ugly truth in the paranormal, but it's also an ugly truth in life.
Yeah, it really is. So, you co-founded the Old World Paranormal Society. Was it with your sister, I believe?
That's correct.
What was that transition like? And what did it teach you about running a paranormal team?
Well, it's in the book. It's in the first couple chapters where I explain why I end up getting into the paranormal. And my sister helped me through that process. We leaned on both of each other, and I wanted to pay it forward. I wanted other people to experience the help that I received. And that's what we created the group. Now, again, it doesn't have to be just random people you meet or friends. You fall in difficult times with family too. We had a falling out and she decided she was done with it. So I continued with it through the next couple of years through the Bell Mansion phase. And, once I'll be honest with you, like coming out of that, and then I kind of got kicked in the teeth. I was just done. I was just done with people. I was done with everything. I didn't want to leave the paranormal. I love the paranormal, but I didn't know how to get to that next phase where it was just going to be me.
Yeah.
I would always travel around the country at the time, either promoting my team or promoting the location. I never went out and promoted myself, where a lot of people they get in the paranormal that instantly they're just promoting themselves, which whatever that I'm not knocking them for it. I hadn't done that yet. And it took me a while to get to that point to feel comfortable with it.
So, the book ends with you moving forward and picking up the pieces. Since writing it, how has your journey continued to evolve?
Oof, I tell you what, volume two is going to be more spicy than volume one. Yeah. I mean, I'm a couple months. So where the book stopped about May 2023. That's the time frame. So, a couple years, and I've now been indulged in so many different things. I went on a case. I was somebody reached out to for me to be a consultant on a residential case, and I ended up taking it over. It was a complete shit show. I mean, everything you can ever think of legit happened on this case. So I'm currently focused on writing that book because I think this story needs to be told and people need to understand what they're really getting into in the residential aspect. I end up meeting Bree through a mutual friend at MadCon, and we've been together ever since. I didn't see that coming. I was not prepared. I was honestly, I'm like, F this. I'm going to be single for the next 5, 10. I don't care. I might live out the rest of my life single. Like that was my mindset at the time,
Yeah.
then hello, she come knocking through the door. But, Bree and I hitting the road. We did a lot of fantastic things on the road. I've been a part of so many, like last year, we didn't travel as much, but I went coast to coast. I went from Savannah to San Francisco for conventions. And, we got the opportunity now to run the State House and Mysteries of the Fort. We put on last year the first Mysteries of the Fort paranormal convention here in Fort Wayne. And that's fun. And just meeting so many people and filming with people and like-minded. So yeah, I mean, the journey didn't stop. I don't know when I'll ever write it, but I think
It's going to be a
chapter
lot
or
spicier.
volume two will definitely trump volume one.
So, you ran the Old World Paranormal Society for a while, and you worked with some of the major names in the field, the ghost hunting field, some TV personalities. What are some of those highlights of those years?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't really until about, I'd say a year and a half before I got the opportunity to open the bell that I started to travel to go to these pay to play places. I wasn't in it for that. I was in it just to help people and do residential cases. And then I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of fun," and then people would invite you out, come out, this or that. And I'm like, okay. But obviously, when you open a prestigious location like that, a lot of people come knocking on your doors.
Yeah.
They want something from you. You have something. And it's good and bad. I've met so many wonderful people. Brian Murray, Rochelle Stratton. I got to hang out with Dustin Perry so many times. Jason Hawes and Cody and Satori and Sherry. Hung out a week with Nick Groff. So many different YouTubers. Kalani was always there. It's funny seeing now, like so many of the YouTubers that had come to the bell at the beginning were very young, and now seeing them where they're millions of subscribers and doing well and stuff like that, I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
fun to get to know these people on a personal level
Yeah.
because they're totally
Oh,
different from what you see on an edited TV show.
oh, I'd imagine. With TV, a lot of times though, they have to, they have to get viewers. So, they have to fill the seats or not fill the seats, but the ratings. So
But let me answer. I didn't answer the best, most interesting and fun time I had was we got a random phone call on a Sunday night from a lady. She's wanting to come in, and we're like, "Man, we're closed." She said, "Well, it says open 24/7." She's like, "Well, me and my fiance really want to check the place out." I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to come back when we're available." And then she spits it out. She's like, "Well, my fiance is Jonathan Davis." And at first, I'm like, "Who the frick is Jonathan Davis?" And it dawned on me who it was, and like still to this day, I said, "Ma'am, if your fiance is really Jonathan Davis, we'll go open the doors." So we head down there and we're waiting. And I'm like, man, we just got scammed. Sure enough, he comes walking up with his son, a bodyguard, and her. And we investigated for 5 or 6 hours, got to shoot with one of the biggest rock stars on the planet. And he is the most humble, nice person you would ever meet.
yeah,
If I would just run into him at Walmart, I would be like, there's no way you're like one of the most famous rock stars on the planet. There's no way. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So that would be my most interesting, I guess.
Okay. So with the time with the Old World Paranormal Society, what one investigation kind of still sticks with you today?
From that period, we probably got sent out to close to 75 different cases. I think around the 50 mark, we had the successfulness of it. A lot of times they would last forever. You
Oh,
know, we would go back and go back and go back, and then we would network to somebody. If we couldn't fix it, we'd find somebody to fix it, stuff like that. One that always sticks out to me is we were doing a residential case for an older lady, and her daughter lived there, which unfortunately within the last year, her daughter did pass away. She was such a nice lady. I was in the living room and we're getting responses through a spirit box from a male type spirit. And I'm telling the spirit, like, look, family doesn't want you here. If you're not family, you're causing harm. You're doing this and that. And the next thing I know, I felt like I got sucker punched in the kidney
oh,
in the living room. And I kind of buckled over a little bit. And, I regained my composure and I'm like, man, I don't feel good. I don't feel good now. So I go out in the garage where we had a little nerve center set up, and I just kept getting worse, and worse, and
eh,
worse. And I'm like, guys, I'm going home. First time ever I've ever left, and I ended up getting really bad pneumonia,
eh,
and I was like deathly sick for like 2.5 weeks after that.
wow.
Now, people are gonna say, well, you were probably gonna come down with pneumonia anyways, and this or
Yeah,
that. You're probably right. I can't sit here and say the ghost gave me pneumonia. But the timing of it, like I felt fine before that. I get sucker punched in my right kidney, and the next thing I know, I'm deathly sick.
yeah,
That one will always stick out to me. But I'll be honest with you, the very first one, I tell you what, that adrenaline rush, you can research, you can prepare, you can talk to everybody under the sun, you can watch every damn TV show known to man. But until you walk in there for the very first time in the dark in an unknown place, and who knows what's going to walk out in front of you, the adrenaline rush. Like I wish a decade later I could still have just a little bit of that adrenaline.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But you know, I guess it
Oh,
goes away with time.
you're getting me a little excited. I can't say the location yet, but I will be doing my first investigation in May. It's
Oh,
already
okay.
booked. I'm going to be going with the Misfits Paranormal crew. Um, and actually, I'll be in February. I'll be unveiling that to everyone here. But you're getting me all excited because this can be my first.
Word of advice I would say is if you get to that unhinged, scared moment or uneasy, grab something next to you that is reality, whatever it is. It'll
Yeah,
help you come down to reality. Big breath. Think about it like, okay, like theoretically, the devil walks out in front of me. Okay. All right. It is what it is. Like,
yeah,
the fight or flight instinct will kick in, but it's like, if you can just pause 2 seconds, take a deep breath, let your mind come back, you're going to
it'll be
experience
fun.
so many cool things and you're going to stay.
I did live in a haunted house for 2 years, so I think I'm going to be all right. I'm more excited than anything because I did, I had full body apparitions I've seen, you know, babies crying upstairs. There's been tons, whole bunch in that house in the 2 years. We
Oh,
just
shit, you're good to go.
we just kind of, they didn't really bother us. It was more of, oh, there they go again. I'm like,
Yeah.
there was a couple like eerie times, like the time my wife made me go down in the cellar because a breaker blew in the. Of course, it's an old farmhouse, so the breaker box is other opposite side of the cellar, and there's one of those pole lights in
Yeah.
the middle of the cellar. And in there, there was a hole that was like this big, and I've always had a bad feeling during the day, but going down there at night, and this was before cell phones or anything. I think I just went down, or I had a little flashlight. As soon as I hit the bottom of the stairs, the hair on the back of my neck went up,
Yeah.
and it was twice as cold as it had been. Of course, the sun was colder, but it seemed a
Right.
lot colder than it should have been. And all I could feel, I didn't see anything, but I could feel it felt like something was watching me from that hole. I ran, pulled the light, ran, got to the fuse box, did what I needed to do, and I ran back and told her I was never going down there at 2, 3 in the morning again.
Well, your body is the best piece of equipment you can have, you know?
That was the only time I was actually petrified.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
the rest of the time, it was eerie, but it wasn't scary. There was something not nice down cellar.
I can imagine for sure.
But
Yep.
so my personal experiences. Now going into the Bell Mansion years, I have a couple questions for you there. You were kind of running the Bell Mansion, is that correct? Just
Uh,
investigating there.
initially, they had reached out to us in Old World to investigate to see if it was truly haunted. And
Okay.
my first 100 hours of investigating, I had well over 300 clips of
Wow.
evidence. So
Wow.
it was definitely haunted. And then I ended up meeting the owner's daughter, and then we started dating, and then we opened it together. And then we end up splitting. And of course, I didn't own the
Yeah.
building. I was the odd man out. So that's kind of how that went down.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to assume things, so I wanted to ask how that went. What kind of lessons on the business side did you learn about the paranormal field running that?
I learned that truly the paranormal is a business. It's not a hobby. It is a business. And you get into it as a hobby. If you can keep it as a hobby, God bless your heart. Like, I'll give you the biggest hug because the more you do, the more people you meet, the more you get involved. I don't care what you're doing, it's a business. And you need to treat it as such. And you need to understand that if you have something that the public wants, they are going to kiss your ass like no other. And when you do not have that anymore, they act like they don't know you.
Yep.
It's kind of the ugly truth, but such is business. Like if you have something the public wants and you're good at it, you get repeat customers. You get people all the time. If you do not have a good product for the public, you no longer have a business. It's like I learned to put people in their place, not in a bad way. Not like I'm putting you in your place. What I mean by that is if you walk through my door and I can tell you're kind of snaky or shady, it's not that I'm going to turn you away, but I'm going to understand who you are. And
Yeah.
I'm going to now move according. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
treat you just as a client. Here's your service. There you go. See you later. They're not the type of person like, hey, you want to go to dinner? Let's talk. The other true factor is the opposite side of it. It's a wonderful way to meet so many amazing people around the world in
Yeah.
an instant. And especially when you do like live investigations like on TikTok and stuff. It's amazing. It still amazes me years after this. The downside with TikTok is if you take a break from TikTok and you try to come back, like your numbers are not going to be the way they used to be.
Oh, I know. I just did that. I took like a 6-month break from TikTok, going TikTok live, and like a week or two ago, I went on, and I think I had like 5 people that
Yeah.
came on. And before, when I was going live, at least I was getting like maybe 50 or so. You know, I imagine it's going to take me a little bit to get back into that.
Yeah. I mean, we would go from 50 to 200 people constantly watching. At first, it was kind of bothersome, but after a while, it's like, no, this is kind of cool because now it slows it down. You can have a one on one more with people. And we get a lot of people that tune in, and what they do is they'll put their earbuds in
Oh,
because your phone has a 360-degree microphone. So it's picking up audio from everywhere. And your device, just like a recorder, is going to pick up voices and things that are happening that we can't hear. So a lot of times when we're investigating, just like on TikTok Live, people are investigating with us. They're going to see things we didn't see. They're going to hear things we didn't see. One of the most fascinating things Bree and I have caught, and it was actually Bree. She was at Wildwood Sanitarium and she got done with her show, Remotely Paranormal, and she was going TikTok Live the rest of the night. Because what we would typically do is we would go TikTok Live and we would go until like we're tired, we're going to go to sleep. But we would plug battery packs into our phone and let TikTok run as long as we can, put a bunch of equipment out and just let people do their thing. And people
yeah.
loved it. Well, she caught a cat on the live. She never heard it in real time, but it is the most incredible piece of evidence as an animal spirit I have ever seen in my life. You can literally hear it meowing and then
Yeah.
it's rubbing on the rig and you can hear the purr.
Wow.
There's no cat in Wildwood Sanitarium. Like the people watching TikTok caught that, messaged her and a timestamp, and she was able to find it and play it
And be
and,
able
and
to.
use it as a clip. You know what I mean?
Can you tell us about the State House in Fort Wayne? What is it and what drew you to that location?
Yeah. So much like the bell was not planned, it just kind of fell in my lap. The State House did the same. The State House is actually my childhood home. My mother still owns it. So my stepfather, he passed away in May of 23. And it took my mom a while to convince herself and understand that she can't take care of the house by herself anymore. So let's move on from it. So, excuse me, September of last or 24, it's already 26. We moved mom out and we put the house on the market and we were going to sell it and walk away. and the house was empty. Bree and I were bored one night, and I'm like, we've always had some type of paranormal activity in the house, but it's always been a loving home. So
Yeah.
we didn't really pay too much to it. Plus, the whole family, even my kids, everybody's into the paranormal. So,
Mm.
it's just more stories to talk about. So we go and investigate. It was me and Bree, my better half, my sister Michelle, which she's works more on the shamanic level, and my daughter, which is a medium as well. So we go and we investigate, and we had crazy night. Like, what the hell is going on here? The house was sitting in litigation because some things had happened. And I'm like, I asked my mother, I said, hey, mom, I said, do you care if I invite some teams to come to the house? It's just sitting empty to kind of validate what we got. She's like, yeah, I don't care. So I called up some people and I'm like, look, I'm not going to tell you anything about this place. It's open, it's available. All I want is I want your most honest, clean investigation. That's it. Just tell me what you get. Tell me what you think. And these people start coming back with clips and clips and clips of evidence talking about nonstop talking, audible, like you could hear it, footsteps, doors slamming, glass EVPs, equipment going off, just crazy shit, man. And I'm like,
Mm.
what the hell?
Yeah.
So it came down to the end of the year, and you gotta. My mom, my stepdad fought cancer for about 5 years, and it literally depleted everything my mom and my stepdad had financially.
Oh.
Okay. So my mom, she just turned 70. She's retired, but literally only thing she has left is Social Security. So we moved her in with my sister. And I'm like, Mom, I said, for the holidays, I said, we're still waiting on this litigation crap. I said, why don't I back channel and rent it out super cheap and you can have some money for Christmas? She's like, well, I don't know, I guess. And so unbeknownst to me, within like 4 weeks, we had like 10 or 12 bookings. People came. So I handed my mom a bunch of money. I said, here, go ham on Christmas, buy all the grandkids a bunch of stuff, this or that. And the more I thought about it, and I'm like, shit. So January 1st of 2025, I sat down with my mom and my sister. I said, look, let's not sell the house. Let's not sell it. Mom's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I know you want all the equity out of it. Okay.
Yeah.
You deserve it. I get that. I said, but hear me out. I said, we'll pull all the equity out so you have money and you can live comfortably the rest of your life. Let's do that. I said, but let's not sell the house. Let's keep it. I said, let's make it a paranormal research center, keep it super affordable for people, and that'll pay for the house itself. You don't have to worry about it. And that's the whole premise behind the state house is one, we're doing it for our mother. Okay. Because honestly, if I went to the public and were like, well, we're opening my childhood home, come investigate it, people are gonna be like, okay, dude, you're just trying to do a cash grab, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
That's
I would think that if it was somebody else, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So having all these very reputable people from around the country come in and validate and having all this evidence and getting their opinions is what led to us opening the state house. And we're celebrating a year. We had a pretty good year. People thoroughly enjoy it. If you are slightly intuitive in any way, like this is your place. Like it caters to people that are intuitive, empathic, mediumship, shaman, whatever you name it. We've had so many people because you get it from 6 p.m. till noon the next day. Okay. Now we're not putting any beds in there because I don't want to deal with the whole cleaning
Yeah.
sheets and everything else because some people are just nasty. But you can stay there if you want. You'd have to bring something to sleep on. But we've had so many people leave because they won't leave them alone, won't let them sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's nothing negative there. And what we really enjoy about it is showing the paranormal community that this prototypical house on State Street in Fort Wayne, Indiana, that was a loving home since 1987 can be one of the most investigated places on the planet. It doesn't have to be a jail or asylum or old orphanage or somebody was murdered in the house. Like none of that has to take place if, because my mindset is if you call yourself paranormal investigator, you should be able to equip yourself one with plethora of equipment, the knowledge to know if I'm walking in this place, those aren't working. You're an investigator. Find a different way.
Yeah.
Find a different way. You know, but that's a whole different topic between investigators and content creators.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yeah. We could go down deep rabbit holes there. So, what is one thing that most people don't understand about the business side of owning a paranormal investigation location?
I literally just had this conversation on New Year's Eve with some people that because they're looking for locations. It is 24/7. It looks sexy
Mm.
to say I own a haunted location or I
Yeah.
run a location, but you are literally on call 24/7 and you have to make yourself available or you create a team of people you can trust or like-minded people to help you. And people there's a lot of people that understand it and don't take it for granted and they'll help you in the drop of a dime. But there's so many people that take this shit for granted and they use and abuse these location owners. They come in and they shit on them and stuff like that. And it's not cool.
No.
I don't care if you come out publicly and say, I bought this place and I know it's haunted. I've had it verified it's haunted, but I only bought this place to make money. If you were being honest about it, and you should still respect that because that person took their own money, time, resources to open this place to give you an opportunity for a different place to investigate. You should respect that.
Yeah.
Respect their rules, do your due diligence, make sure you pay them and all that good stuff. Have you ever, like, when you start going around these places and you're going to see these things called house rules, location rules, and you'll ask every location owner, every rule has become a rule because they
Because
had to
some,
make it a rule.
yeah. Because someone who didn't follow or probably made them do that.
Like, you go to Madison Seminary, Adam Kimmel had to put a letter or a rule up saying having, I don't remember what room or where it's at, but it says having no sex on the premise. He says,
There's a reason.
we had to make a rule because of a reason.
Yep.
People are people, though. I,
Now, what makes the State House unique compared to other paranormal locations?
well, I would say the uniqueness is our spirits, the premise behind the house, our family running it. We actually care. It's not about the money. We want to put money in my mom's pocket, obviously. But if you have some off the wall idea or something, and you come to us and you're like, I really want to try this and I want to do this, but I just don't have any money. I'll be willing to work with you. Can you come up on an afternoon during the week? Can you do this? Like, let's work it out. You know, we want it to be a true paranormal research center. We want to be there for as many people as we can be. You just have to be there to understand,
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
honest with you. I mean, me just saying the things is just, of course, I'm going to toot my own horn and I'm going to toot my own location and I'm going to sell it till I can't sell it anymore. But you just have to experience it.
Hopefully someday I can make it there.
There's more than corn here. Indiana is a hotbed. We have a lot of amazing locations in Indiana.
Oh, I've been researching, I think it's the historian in me looking at the different states and different locations, and there is a lot in Indiana. But I,
There is. Every spirit you're talking to is history, their story, their name. Everything is history.
Yep, it is. And, you know, I'm a historian, but I enjoy the paranormal. And it's kind of the reason I started my channel when I first started this channel. If you look back at my very early videos, they are history. They're just history videos. And then I happened to do something that involved something paranormal. And that went a lot better than my history videos were doing. Then I started doing paranormal stuff in these interviews back in August. Here I am. Every week I have another interview coming out with someone else. And I just love the stories. As you can tell, I try to
Right.
ask the questions to get the stories.
I don't think there's a community that does more for preserving history and talking about history than the
Yeah.
paranormal community. The downside to it is we get labeled as such weirdos, golf people, blah, blah, blah. Sure, not argue all the time. Like, I know people that are police officers, firemen, teachers, lawyers,
Yeah.
doctors, you name it in this community. And really irritates me. Like, you see a magnificent building and it's a museum or they're preserving it for history and doing all this stuff. And now they have a board and they have this and they have that, but they're struggling because, again, to a lot of people, history is boring. They're not going to be like, oh my gosh, let's go this weekend to this museum and walk around for 3 or 4 hours. It's a dying thing. Like, people just don't do that anymore unless it's like class trips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you can find some individuals in the paranormal community that have brain, not an ego, it's very beneficial to them, you know, to link up with the paranormal team, let them run it, do the ghost hunts and the tours, split it 50-50 with them. You're making money that you're not even working for. That's it.
Yeah.
Let these people help you preserve history. Keep that building running, keeping the lights on, keeping the heat on, keeping the water on, putting up a new exhibit that you've been wanting to do for a decade, but you never got the funding for. Hello?
Yeah.
There's this whole group of individuals across this country in the paranormal community that would love the opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, I would obviously vet these people out, vet
Yeah.
them out, spend the money, do the background checks, please, because there are some people in this community that, holy shit, they shouldn't be. They should be behind bars. But, you know, if just giving the opportunity, it could change the trajectory of this building. The next thing you know, it's not getting sold to some developer that's either going to knock the building down or turn it into condos or apartments.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of them scoff at us, man.
And a lot of those historic locations are becoming condos, you know,
Centers.
or data centers.
We went to Penhurst last year. So Gina Bingston and Bob called Bree and I and asked us to come out. Says, hey, would you volunteer your time? And I'm like, I've never volunteered at a convention. I've either been special guest or I've been a vendor or I bought a ticket.
Yeah.
I think maybe once or twice I've ever went and bought a ticket. But anyways, I'm like, what do you want us to do? And she's like, you're going to just be a runner or a handler for a couple celebrities. And I'm like, ugh. Like that to me, this eats at the core of my being to do this. I'm like, look, two things. There's only one, two, maybe three, maybe four people ever in the paranormal community that if they walked down the everybody would know who they were.
Yeah.
That's a celebrity. Okay. But for these people, like, I'm like, I don't know. And I mulled over it. I mulled over it for a couple months. And I'm like, talking to Bree, and she's like, "You think we should?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we did. We had a wonderful time. I got a lot of cool experiences. Met some new faces. Um, oddly enough, I got teamed up with the ghost hunter people, so got to chill and hang with them again, and met Chris Williams. That's who I was handling. But it's sad. It's sad that Penhurst might be gone.
Yeah, it is. I've never been there. I don't know if I'm not ever going to make it there if it does go, but
Yeah.
it's one of the iconic locations. There's so many of them that are starting to go away. Of course, we have the Conjuring House. Who knows what's going to happen there?
Do I hang out with Jason Hawes and all this stuff? No. Do I have his phone number? Yes. Do I consider him a friend? No, I don't know him on that level.
Yeah.
But I'm going to disagree wholeheartedly with everything that's going on with The Conjuring, and I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with it.
I don't, I'm very new to the paranormal community, but I'm kind of split on it. I don't know.
Would I like to see The Conjuring house? Yes. We were supposed to go December 22nd of 23, and last minute something came up. We didn't go. Now, for me, it's like if I truck across the United States to go to the Conjuring house, it's one, just to see it. I want to touch the door handles. I want to touch the wall. I'm one of those weird people when you walk into a historic building, like I'm almost hugging it. You know what I'm saying? If I have a paranormal experience there, fantastic. If I don't, who cares? I went and saw the Conjuring.
Yeah.
That's about the extent for me. You know what I'm saying? And that was the
Yeah.
same way at Penhurst. Like walking around these old buildings, I'm like, oh my god, I'm opening this door, grabbing this door, looking at that, hugging a pillar like a weirdo. You know, be there to touch history, be a part of history, learning about it. I get to
Yeah.
interact with the spirit or two. That's just a cherry on top.
That was me in October. I went to Wilson's Castle. I don't know if you've ever been there in Vermont. It's nice. It was a place I always wanted to go. I didn't investigate or anything, but we went and took the history tour, got to walk all around. And I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Trust me. We got invited to speak at a convention in San Francisco over the summer, and I've been to California once. Uh, that was just briefly because I was in Nevada, and then we went over to California for a little bit. But I'm like, yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. So I got to go tour the Winchester Mystery House, and it was
Oh,
for me, it was just enough.
that was
Just again, I'm in there. I'm walking the same unique rooms and hallways and this or that, and I get to touch this and I get to do that. That was suffice for me. We went to Alcatraz to get on the ferry and go across the bay and truck your way up to it and get to walk around that island and go through the facility. Did I investigate? No, but I didn't. I really didn't want to. I just want to see it.
yeah,
I want to see it. I want to feel it. You know.
yeah.
So trust me, I get it. Just you have the opportunity to go see a place. Just go see it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. For me, that, like I said, I'm going to be doing my first investigation. Most of the time where I go, I'm just going to see the places.
Yeah.
But I figured I'd give it a try investigating and see how I like it. Speaking of conventions and cons, kind of brings us to Mysteries of the Fort. Last year, or November, I think it was, it was a 3-day convention. I think you and Bree put it on. What kind of made you decide to create an event of your own at that scale?
You want the honest answer?
Whichever you'd like to give.
I've been to so many damn conventions around the country. I'm not one for the para party. I'm not buying tickets to go see a bunch of celebrities get drunk, take their shirts off, and that's not me. What I do like is meeting new people. I like networking. I like to hear your stories. I want to hear your thought process. What's your background? What made you write this book? Meeting like-minded people and stuff like that, offering stuff where you're teaching the public stuff about paranormal the right way, you know. And
Yeah.
we really want to take it back to now, not to say that I was involved in the early years of conventions, but talking to some of the people that were, been in the game for 20, 30 years, being at these conventions back in the day, that, from them firsthand, they would talk about how you would look forward to this event. One, because there's no social media. You can't just,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you look forward to this event to be with like-minded people throughout the country, and you're sharing ideas and you're sharing thought process and you're sharing evidence with everybody, and they would have classes and they would teach people stuff, and this or that. So I'm like, we need to bring that back. We need to bring it back. How does that look? I don't know. Well, let's try it. And we had a pretty successful first year. It's unique. It's more of a 2-day event. Friday night was more like it was you can get in early to set up your tables. And then Friday night we had a gallery reading and a seance in the
Okay.
middle of the hotel. It was great. So that was Friday night. And there's food, beverages, all that stuff. Sit back, relax, lounge, have a good time, like-minded people. If you wanted to participate in the seance, you could. The gallery reading, you really can't control that. Spirit's gonna do what spirit does. Saturday, so it was a paranormal and a metaphysical event. So Saturday was all geared towards paranormal. We had 5 different panels. One panel was a bunch of different mediums, and they explained how each medium does things different. We had location owners, we had authors, we had equipment builders. Then we had first responders of the paranormal. The people that, have been police officers, fire, EMT, their paranormal experiences. Why are they in the paranormal? Stuff like that. So that was Saturday. Sunday was all metaphysical. There was 5 different classes teaching you a Reiki healing to different forms of healing and stuff like that. And we really are focused on trying to integrate both of those. Just as much as we want to integrate history, the paranormal, we need to integrate the metaphysical part.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned in this last decade is people need to get some type of energy healing, especially if you are in the paranormal community 24/7, like you're going to the doctor. I would say 3 times a year, find somebody in your area that is some type of Reiki practitioner or in that genre and go get a healing. I'm telling you, your life will change, you know. So we wanted to emphasize that, that we
Yeah.
we had a ghost hunt that Saturday night at All Glaze Village. It was fun. It was everybody coming together, and everybody that was there would volunteer their time. I didn't pay anybody to come. They all volunteered, like, this is a great idea. I want to be involved. Perfect. We gave back to Humane Fort Wayne. We took donations for the cats and the dogs. We raised money for it's called the Shepherd's House. It is a veteran owned establishment that helps homeless veterans get off their feet. So we raised money for that. The raffle, we raised money for locations. So this year we need to get the State House roof fixed. Money is going to go help fix the roof. Now this year, by the end of the month, we're going to choose 5 locations that we recommend. Then we're going to put it on social media and everybody's going to vote. And whoever wins that vote in this year's Mysteries of the Fort raffle money, they get that money
Oh, nice. That's
to help
that's great for this
whatever they
year.
need.
Yeah, that's great. So for 2026, is it, probably not everything's been released yet, but any dates or speakers or anything?
Most of that will be announced probably by March 1st, sometime in
Okay.
March. Um, It'll probably be around the same time. We like Veterans Day. So this was the weekend before Veterans Day last year, and I think we're going to do it again this year because we want to give back to our veterans. We want to give back to the community. We want to get back to the paranormal community being the raffle. So we'll probably keep it again that weekend.
Okay. Great. Just a couple more questions before we wrap up, because I know we're just about at the hour mark. For someone who is trying to build a paranormal business, what's one hard truth you wish someone had told you early on in your career?
It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. It's okay to trust your gut, stand on your 2 feet, and say no. Most people want everybody to like them.
Yeah.
Truly. You really think about that. And if you can understand that not everybody's going to like you, not everybody's going to like your thought process, if you can just smile and wave and go the other direction, it'll make your life a lot easier. Because
Okay.
when you, how do I explain it? It's no different than little league or football. You get a group of individuals that come together, and you're all kind of the same, right? And
Yeah.
then you have that one person that kind of takes that leap of faith on themselves and moves forward, you know, and they're starting to do other things or become a little bit more successful than the rest. What typically happens? They get upset or they get jealous. Then they turn into vengefulness and they start attacking you when not too long ago you were literally like brothers and sisters. The only difference is you now have had an opportunity to do something that they don't,
Yeah.
and how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? Do you throw shade back or you just let it go and ignore it? And eventually they'll understand nothing changed other than your attitude and the way you thought of things. I still love you. I still thought of you as a brother and sister. We can all collectively move forward if you get in the right mindset. But if you're going to be an a hole or a Debbie Downer, like, no, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I did see recently that you and Bree are going to be speaking at the Cleveland Paracon. I saw that announcement recently. For someone that's looking to kind of build credibility and get speaking opportunities at conferences, what advice would you give for breaking into that kind of doing that?
Go, reach out, be a vendor, spend the 40, 50, $75 for a table for the weekend. Put yourself out there. Put yourself out there. Believe in yourself and what you're doing and just go and just meet people. That is the quickest way. That is the easiest way because what'll happen is you go to these conventions and you meet 10 different groups of people. They now know who you are. So you might go to dinner with them after a day or two. Like, let's go to dinner.
Yeah.
Cool. Now you have new contacts from 4 states over. Okay. And then you go to another one. You're going to meet some more people. And now you're networking, and then it's like, okay, you'll call them like, hey, come on my podcast. Next thing you know, cool. They're on your podcast. And then they're talking about you over here in the state. I'm going to be on the Common Historians podcast. Oh, I've never heard of that. Boom, checking it out. Boom, boom. It's you know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
but you have to believe in yourself and you have to put yourself out there. You
Yeah.
know, if it's something that you really have to look yourself in the mirror, like, is this what I really want to do? I really want to do this. Okay. Then believe in yourself and do it. Like if you would have interviewed me a decade ago and you asked me, well, how do you stand up in front of 250, 300 people and just speak? I'm like, I can't do it. Ain't no fucking way. No way. Nope. Not doing it. Nope. I couldn't do it. I'd probably pass out and puke. But opportunities present themselves and you start to believe in yourself. You're like, figure it out, dude. Just figure it out, you know? And then you just get used to it. And then next thing you know, your phone, you're getting messages late at night. Hey, look at this video. What's your thoughts on it? Okay, I'll give you my opinion. You know, it's a cobweb in front of a camera. You know, like, oh, it's not. I'm like, yeah, pretty sure it's a cobweb in front of a camera. I'm sorry, you didn't catch anything cool, but you know,
Yeah.
but that's all it is, man. That's all it is. Invest
Yep.
in yourself. Be confident. Be nice. Be who you are. We're all quirky. We're all weird. You know, don't. I mean, seriously, don't think like, oh, what if they don't accept me? What if I'm too weird? No, you're in the right spot. If you're weird, you're in the right spot. You'll fit right in.
My final question for you tonight, where can people find you, the State House, information on Mysteries of the Fort? Where are you at on social media, etc.?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Nick Carboni, Instagram, same thing. TikTok's the same thing. I'm hardly ever on Instagram, to be honest with you. I'm old timer. I'm either on Facebook or now I'm on TikTok. YouTube, there's a bunch of stuff from way back in the day. It's under Old World Paranormal Society of Fort Wayne, Old World Paranormal Podcast episodes on there. Some videos of our very early year investigations, you know,
Oh,
back in
I'll
the day.
check those out.
Media, just under my name. Um, State House, it's the State House. You can find us on Facebook if you would like to book the State House. It's relatively cheap. It's 175 for Friday and Saturday, up to 5 people, $35 each additional person. We're open throughout the week. It's only $100 for the night. Super affordable. You get at 6 p.m. to noon the next day. Message us through the State House page. We can get you booked. We're old school. We don't have the fancy website and all that stuff yet. Mysteries of the Fort, you can go to Mysteries of the Fort on Facebook. Bree and I will be working hard the next 2 months to get it all updated. And we're just kind of figuring out what we want to do in year two. Knowing us, we're going to do something a little different.
Yeah.
So it'll take some time. We'll announce some things in March and it'll probably be all finalized probably by April. The convention will go off that weekend before Veterans Day in November again. So we have plenty of time to get everything together. And so, yeah, Mysteries of the Fort on Facebook, State House is on Facebook. Shoot us a message. We'd love to see you come out.
And I'll make sure to put a bunch of those links in the description below too, so they're
Oh,
easy to
cool. I
find.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Um, as well. So thank you, Nick, for spending some time with me tonight. For everyone else out there, history books close, but some stories refuse to end. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you subscribe to The Common Historian, hit the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode. And you'll find all of Nick's links in the description below. Till next time, keep exploring the shadows, and I'll see you next Saturday.